Hey there, guys and girls. Jason here, ProFit, International Health and Fitness. Look, if you don't know who I am, like I said, my name is Jason. I'm the director here at ProFit. Been around the industry a very long time, both overweight, underweight, dealt with a lot of rehab issues, which is where I specialize is that rehabilitation and the functionality training. If you're watching this video, I dare say you're looking at starting a health kick, whether it's one of our challenges or you're doing something yourself, or you've got a group of mates together, and yeah, you want to make a change. So congratulations. That is the first step, is actually taking control and jumping head on into it. If you're watching us live through Zoom or YouTube, thank you very much for coming along and sharing your time with us. We're going to do our best to get this under, hopefully under the half an hour. There's a fair bit we need to run through, but yeah, it should be hopefully very informative, I think is the word I'm looking for. Cool. So let's jump into it. I'm going to do this quite generically. I guess the word is I'm looking for. There's, of course, everybody's going to have different goals, different abilities. So I'm just going to take a general approach, and obviously you can put your own twist on things. What you need to do in order to like make a change, and what you need to know, it's basically the W questions. You learned these in grade 2. Your W questions: what you want, when you want it, where you want it, why you want it, and how you're going to get there. Okay, so when we run through all this, let's look at the what first of all. Why did you jump on board for a transformation challenge in the first place? What is it that you're after, and what are the results that you're looking at getting? So, lose weight, tone up. Is there a sporting goal in mind? Look, the list goes on. So for general purposes, after spending so many years working in the gym environment, managing various gyms, what we found is about 85% of people, women generally want to lose weight, tone up. Guys, it's about getting big, getting shredded. Pretty much the same thing. You want to strip your body fat down, and you want to stay toned and maybe put on a little bit of muscle, gain some strength. Basically the same stuff. All right. So that's a general approach. I know there are other issues, whether it's, again, that rehab background, maybe your knees hurt, whatever it may be. So get specific with what it is you want. Let's, for argument's sake, say I want to drop 10 kilos. Okay, cool. 10 kilos is a great goal, but what sort of 10 kilos are you looking at dropping? Is it 10 kilos in general, or 10 kilos of body fat, or what is it? When do you want it? I want to drop 10 kilos. By when? Okay, let's set a goal. 8 weeks. It's a pretty reasonable time frame to drop 10 kilos. Okay, cool. Set that goal. 8 weeks. That can definitely be done. I know people that have dropped 10 kilos worth of body fat in under 4, and quite safely, I might add. Some people have dropped that 10 kilos in 4 weeks and gained muscle. We've tracked that. That's what we're looking at. So it's all about getting there safely and as effectively as possible. So I know some people are going to be jumping up and down saying, 10 kilos in 4 weeks is dangerous. Not when it's done right. It can be done so long as you're under supervision with a professional and you're monitoring quite regularly. It can be done, and it can be done safely. So you've set your time frame, you know what you want, you know when you want it, where do you want it? Let's start to dive in a little bit more. Where do you want it? Where on your body? Hey, look, maybe I've got 10 kilos worth of body fat around the tummy. Most people do. Guys, that's that beer belly look that we generally have. That's where you hold your body fat. Ladies, it's predominantly around the hips. Just shape of the pelvis, that's all that is. That's where the body fat sits. There's no connective tissue in body fat. It's just going to sit wherever it wants to, and generally it's where those areas are. Why? Here we go. This is the big one. This is where we're going to add the emotion to it. So why do you want to drop that 10 kilos? Okay. I saw a great story the other day about a lady who went on a theme park, a ride in a theme park. And it was one of those photos, they take the photos as you're halfway down the roller coaster. It was one of those photos that triggered her weight loss. And that she didn't like the way she looked. So, okay, cool. So she went out and dropped quite a bit of weight. I'm not quite sure how much she dropped, but her before and after photos were absolutely amazing. So let's look at the pleasure and pain. And again, men and women, generally speaking, have a different approach. Guys respond better to that pain approach, or, hey, you can't squat that much, or you can't do 100 push-ups, or you can't do this. Whereas women, again, generally, I don't mean to sound a little sexist here, but this is just the approach that, this is just from experience. Women, generally speaking, respond better to the pleasure response. So, hey, that was a great set. Hey, look how far you've come, et cetera, et cetera. And hey, if it works both ways as well. Guys, if you respond better to the pleasure response, or ladies, if you respond better to the pain response, use it. Know what fires you up. So we're going to add the emotion to everything. Let's look at the why. Why do you want to drop the 10 kilos? You don't like the way you look? Okay, awesome. That's a great why. How? The next one along is how, the how question. So we're going to create your plan. Okay, now if you're doing one of our challenges, generally we'll give out one of our structured spreadsheets. So it's basically a week worth. It's broken down into 30-minute blocks, and you can just add in. You can, hey, wake up at 4 a.m. Go to the bathroom, do your teeth, flick the jug on, make your coffee, whatever it is. 4:30 comes along. Okay, cool. I'm packing lunches. I'm getting myself ready for the day. 5 o'clock. You're on the roads. You're traveling, whether it's to the gym or to a boot camp or to your trainer, or whatever it may be. Get specific with it, and obviously make it as personal as possible. And you're going to go through and set up your whole week. I know there's going to be a few skewed days in there. I know there's public holidays coming up. When we're recording this one, we are coming up to Australia Day. So that's going to throw a few people out. Obviously, be aware of those things and what you intend to do with your time accordingly. Ask for help. I can't stress that enough. A lot of people give up on their goals just because it gets hard. So look, the help is there. All you need to do is sing out. And as much as we like to think it, we're not mind readers. So we can give you all the tools that you need, but use us to your full advantage. Whether it's a trainer, whether it's your mum or dad, or a mate at the gym, or a mate at the boot camps, or whatever. If someone, use someone that's been there, someone that's progressed out of that. What did they do? May not necessarily be the best approach, but hey, it's an approach. It's better than what you've got at the moment. If you're pulling out straws and nothing's coming along, ask someone, get some ideas, start throwing some ideas down on paper. The last thing we want to look at is generate support. Again, this is a huge one. A lot of people, it's very similar to asking for help, but generate your support. If you've got a trainer, awesome. They're going to be there. Use them to their best advantage. Your trainer should be there for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's not just turn up, do your session, and same time next week. Your trainer is there to get you the results. Okay, you should have 24/7 access to your trainer. If you don't, get a new trainer. Whether it's a trainer or not, again, parents, siblings, mates, use the dog if you need to. Book a time with your dog to go for a walk every morning, or go for a run, or take it down the park. The list is endless. Okay, now it's going to come all full circle here with your real why. So let's take a step back. So we wanted to, our original why was, I didn't like the way I looked. Let's dive in a little bit deeper here. Let's say, I don't like the way I look. I don't like the pressure on my knees, but why don't you like the way you look? Okay, it's just, I don't like filling my tummy out. I don't like filling my shirt out with my tummy. Or maybe I've got, a few of our girls call them fatty wing bits. So these little bits down here, or tuck shop lady arms, whatever you want to call them. maybe that's your why, or maybe you just want to be around a little bit longer. Maybe you've had a health scare. As harsh as it's going to sound, a health scare is probably one of the best things that can happen to you in order to get your ass into gear. And I hate to say it that way, but that's just that's the reality of it. So look at your real why. So why is it that you want to lose weight, or whatever your goal may be? And I'm going to say not that goal, not that why. What is your real why? And you don't have to tell me. You don't have to tell anybody your real why, but I do recommend writing it down. If you write it down, it becomes real. Sounds cool? Awesome. So let's move on here. So your tools, getting started in one of these health transformation challenges, I guess you could call them. You're going to need some basic tools. Obviously, not everybody has access to a bioscan or a DEXA scan or any sort of medical grade body analysis machines. I'll spit it out. So look, there's tons of things you can look at here. Tape measure, obviously that's a no-brainer there. Measurements are a hugely common in tracking your changes. Cameras. I know there's a lot of people out there that don't like taking photos of themselves. Trust me when I say that it will be the best thing you can do. Forget measurements, forget weights, forget anything like that. If you only do one thing to track your progress, make it photos. Okay. If you're not sure on taking consistent photos, flick back through our YouTube channel. There's a little quick video on there about setting everything up consistently. Keep notes. So it's not just the objective goals that we look at. So weight, measurements, etc., body fat. But look at your subjective measurements as well. So things like how you're feeling. Did you wake up refreshed? Those little things can play a huge role. So maybe you didn't lose any weight 1 month, or maybe you didn't lose any measurements, or et cetera, et cetera. But your mental state has improved. That's progress in my book. I mean, for me, health is so much more than lifting weights, getting stronger, eating healthy. It's financial, it's spiritual, it's psychological, it's sexual, it's the list goes on. Health is holistic. If one pillar falls, you're not healthy. Okay. Obviously, we've touched on our support here. You've got your support as your tools and your structure. Again, we've touched on that already. Awesome. Let's move on. So getting started. I'm going to take a little quick drink here. So getting started, we need to be in the right mindset to get started, right? So obviously you know what you want, but that may be based around where you've been. Oh, hey, back in high school, I was, 10% body fat. I had, killer six-pack, blah, 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 blah. That's cool. That was high school. This is now. So what I want you to do is start from scratch. That's what this 0% is here. This is the first day for the rest of your life. Okay, we're starting blank. We don't judge. You're going to be your own worst critic here. You're going to look in the mirror. Okay, cool. I need to lose weight in this area. I need to train this. I need to correct my posture in this area. There is no judgment. There is no feeling bad. There is no feeling good. It just is. Okay, that's just where we're starting. Okay, know where you are. So again, this is about keeping track. Analyze the body. Take your measurements. Take your photos. Keep track of your weight. Your sporting performance. If you've got a sporting goal, maybe you're playing basketball and you need to work on your vertical leap, or maybe you need you're a sprinter. You need to get that 100-meter sprint time down. I don't know. Whatever your goal is, keep track of as many specifics as possible. Take notes, whether it's in the phone or a notepad, wherever it may be. Keep track of them. Alrighty, the how. The how is the fun one. So obviously we've got our support base there. You can ask help from a professional, so be that as a trainer or a sporting coach or whatever. Okay, ask for help. I cannot stress that enough. If you do need help with anything at all, of course, I'm always here. Feel free to add me on Facebook. It's just Jason Gent up here. Hit like on our Facebook page as well if you need to. Just ProFit International Health and Fitness. If you can see that there. A bit of a shameless plug for the business right there. But ask for help. Help is free. Okay, it's nobody should be charging anybody for a conversation. Okay, that's cool. Of course, once you get into things like your online coaching and that sort of stuff, then it starts to get a little bit financially draining, I guess, on the business. But hey, look, if I could, I'd do it for free. It's just a shame we have to put food on the table each week. We're going to look at your goals. So you want to look at, let's take that 10 kilos in 8 weeks. Macro and micro cycles here. So these are basically, we're going to chunk it down. So you've got your big goal, a macro cycle, a big goal 8 weeks, a macro cycle might be 4 weeks. A micro cycle, again, might be 2 weeks or even 1 week. And you're going to set those little mini goals along the way to track your progress. Just so you know that you're tracking in the right direction. A vision board. Vision boards are an interesting one. Predominantly used for business goals or maybe personal goals. And I know I've got one. Actually, as my desktop is my little vision board. I've got a couple of screens here. But you know, they work just as well for health goals as well. Find photos of maybe you want to compare yourself to where you were 5 years ago or in high school or wherever. Maybe that's the body you want. Obviously, it needs to be realistic. You know, some of us just, you can't get rid of the grey hairs naturally or you know, whatever. But create your vision board. Go as mad as you like with it. This is the fun one. Duck down to Officeworks or Staples, Kmart or wherever. Get yourself a little pin board. And just throw up photos of everything. On the flip side though, we've got our self-guilt. Now this done right can be super effective. What we used to tell people is pack a bag, get your gym clothes, get your sneakers, get your water bottle, chuck it all in your gym bag, leave it on the front seat of your car. This is if you're training after work, leave it on the front seat of your car. That way it's sitting there, it's ready to go. You're looking at it. So instead of driving from work and going home, you're going to go to the gym or you're going to go to boot camp or you're going to go and train. You're going to go for your run or you know, you're going to guilt yourself into doing it. Works just as well if you leave it in overnight. Obviously clean clothes, but you're not going to go straight from home to work. You know that gym bag is in your car or that gym bag is sitting at the foot of your bed. It's there, it's ready to go. You've got your lunch packed. You don't need to stuff around at home and waste time. You can just grab it and go. It's there. It's going to guilt you into doing that. So done right, self-guilt is an amazing tool to use. Again, running buddies. Running buddies are awesome. It comes back to that whole support thing. So the more people who know about your goals, the more effective those goals can be. Okay, grab a group of mates, head down to your local boot camp, or you know, go for a run or whatever it may be. But do something. If you've got a date with a friend, you're not going to cancel on them. Again, that could be your dog. Okay, if you've built the habit of taking the dog for a run every afternoon, the dog's going to look at you with those big brown puppy eyes and say, "Hey, look, we're going for a run." I guess that falls into self-guilt as well. Look, this is the fun stuff here. We're going to start on nutrition. So grab your pen and paper, grab all the writing tools you need if you want to jot down some notes. This video I'm hoping will be up on YouTube, so you'll be able to stop and start and pause and fast forward and all that sort of stuff at a later date. Nutrition, look, the basics are look for colors, fresh produce only, and pretty much what I tell people, if it's got a use by date of any more than a week, generally speaking, leave it alone. So we're talking fruits and veg, we're talking unprocessed meats, pretty much stay around the outside of the supermarket. If you, next time you're in Woolies or Coles or Aldi, or wherever your supermarket is, wherever in the world you happen to be watching this, next time you're in one of those big shopping centers or grocery stores, I should say, stick around the edges, see how much you can actually get in your trolley just from going around the edges. Skip the middle aisles. Obviously, toiletries are an exception. So we've got our tracking tools here as well. I generally use MyFitnessPal. It's a freebie. They do have a paid version, but I mean, generally speaking, the vast majority of people can get away with just the free version. You can add your friends onto that one as well. Most people have heard of MyFitnessPal. I'll be perfectly honest, if you're just getting started with it, it can be a little bit overwhelming, but look, stick at it. It's a brilliant tool to use. It can give you breakdowns of your macronutrients as well, which we'll get to shortly. You've also got a plan. So this is an important one here. What I would recommend, until you get into the swing of things, sit down tonight and work out nutrition for tomorrow. Okay, so you're actually planned, so you're not going to be falling short on protein, or most people fall short on protein. So you're not trying to run around at 8 o'clock at night saying, oh, okay, I've still got to find another 40 grams of protein. How can I get that? If you know what you're going to have, it becomes so much easier. And once you get into that routine, you can sort of wean yourself off MyFitnessPal. Or if you want to change your nutrition, then you can jump back on, make a few little tweaks. It becomes so much easier. So look, the first couple of weeks of any sort of health kick can be quite overwhelming, and that's where a lot of people fall off. But trust me, just stick to it, and you'll be fine if you've got the right support there as well. Of course, sing out. That's what we're here for. What else we got here? All the numbers. This is a fun one. Now, look, again, this is a general approach. So, again, everybody is going to be different in their numbers and their requirements for what they need. So obviously create your own plan. That is, you can pull nutritional plan after nutritional plan off the internet, and it's just not made for you. If you're going to spend money on anything, sit down with a trainer who does have nutritional qualifications, and we can help create one for you. That way it's based around you. Again, using MyFitnessPal. Let's type in the numbers into MyFitnessPal here. So take your time with this one. If you haven't got MyFitnessPal already, just jot these numbers down, or if you want to run through with me at the moment and change accordingly. Two options that we use. Personally, I run with option 1. I prefer a lower carb intake. It's not quite keto. It is just low carb. I'm going to run you through my options later on. But these are percentages that you can set into MyFitnessPal themselves. Just go through, I think it's goals, settings, goals. I'm not quite sure how to get there anymore. Again, it's on our YouTube channel. I've done a little video for that as well, how to set it up and make the tweaks accordingly. Jump onto YouTube and have a look, just ProFit International Health and Fitness, MyFitnessPal, and I can run you through how to set up these goals. So option 1, 20% carbohydrates, 40% fats, 40% proteins. That is my personal preference. Again, everybody's going to be different. Now the carbs, I'm going to get a little bit boring here. There's 2 types of carbohydrates. You've got your sugars and your fiber. Those carbs are going to come predominantly from fiber. So we're talking fruits and veg, predominantly, well, mostly veg, I should say. Basically, it's just going to help the body with digestion, and with all the nutrients in veggies anyway, the body will function so much better than just simple sugars. Fats, again, fat as an energy source is brilliant. Helps for so many things. I'm not going to get into that now. That's a whole different kettle of fish. And proteins, the building blocks. I'm sure everybody's heard that protein is the building blocks of growth. So obviously keep them high. A lot of people will struggle to hit their protein goal. What I would recommend here with either one of these options, what I would recommend with your meals is to base your meal around protein. So whether that's, I know there's probably going to be some, whether you're vegetarian or vegan, I know you've got your own preferred protein sources, whether that's leafy greens or legumes or whatever, wherever you get your protein from. I'm just going to use an omnivorous approach anyway, just for the sake of this video. So let's say chicken, brilliant source of protein. Chicken or turkey, white meat's always great. Base your meal around that protein, add the required amounts of fat, and then fill up the rest of the plate with fibrous carbohydrates. There's going to be very little calories in your fiber. What you'll find is in size-wise, your protein, let's go a different approach. There is 4 calories per gram in your carbs and your protein. So 1 gram of protein is 4 calories. 1 gram of carbs is 4 calories. Okay, fats a little bit higher. So there are 9 calories per gram in your fats. Okay, so protein source is going to be size-wise. I don't know whatever sort of protein you're using. Let's say it's this big. Fats, maybe this big, maybe a little bit of half an avocado, for example. And your carbs will be quite substantial, just because of the lower calorie content there. Obviously, option 2 there's another option there if you do like your carbohydrates. If you want to run the body from carbs rather than fats, that's always a great option. Both work. I know for a fact from personal experience, again, everyone's different. From personal experience, I've had better luck with this one, with the lower carbs. I tend to try to get my body into a state of ketosis, and then that will prioritize body fat as an energy source. Look, nutritional guidelines. This is where we start to get a little bit in depth. So obviously we're creating your plan. You've got that in place. You're going to prep your meals for the week. That's a no-brainer there. Lost my train of thought there. Moving on. Always using fresh foods. That's simple, that one. Steer clear of anything, not anything, but most things canned or in jars. They generally have a lot of preservatives or numbers in them. If you're having eggs, obviously they're all free range. Limit your beef to 3 times per week. It's got to do with the acidity in red meat. Obviously load up on your chickens and free range poultry. Always cool. Less gluten and processed carbs. So things like breads, I'm not going to say don't have bread, but obviously if you can reduce it, or even pastas for that matter, same category. If you can reduce it, reduce the gluten, reduce the processed carbohydrates, depending on which option you've chose here, that will help you out drastically. Less dairy as well. That's not going to sit too well in the tummy. It's not no dairy. If you need a little bit of milk in the coffee, feel free. Fruits, we're going to stick to berries, pineapple, and avo. Again, this is just to keep the sugars down. We're going to get the majority of our micronutrients that people are going to be jumping up and down. So, what about the nutrients from fruit? Yes. Let's just pause for a second. The micronutrients in fruit vastly outweigh the sugar content. However, if we are looking at, say, option 1, with the lesser carbs, which we're aiming for fiber, not sugar, remember what we spoke about earlier, then what we need to do here is reduce our fruit intake, but increase our vegetable intake, or vegetable and salad intake. Okay, so we're still getting the nutrients, but instead of the nutrients coming from fruits, they're going to come from vegetables. Make sense? Cool. Obviously, no added salts, sugars, or sauces. If you need a little bit extra flavor, have a look at some, some turmeric, garlic, ginger, spices. Have some fun with spices. They're absolutely amazing. You'll be able to create some incredible recipes just based around that. This one here is a no-brainer. No takeaway chocolate ice cream, no sweets. Look, from my experience, if you're going to have a cheat meal, depending on what you actually have for your cheat meal, that single cheat meal can put you back anywhere from sort of 3 to 5 days. Okay, so that is, you stick to your nutrition 100%. You have a blowout Sunday night, you have a whole pizza to yourself. Cool. That, again, Monday morning comes around, you're back on your nutrition. It could be Wednesday or Thursday before you're back to where you were on the previous Saturday. So if you're going to have a cheat meal, have fun with it. I mean, personally, I don't know why cheat meals are even a thing anymore, but a lot of people swear by them. You can still eat extremely healthy. And I mean, look at these things. It's just a little bit of, I don't know what that is, ham or turkey or something with scrambled egg or omelette. There's nothing wrong with that at all. Obviously, you're going to reduce the ham. You can get some great tangent. You can get some amazing preservative-free hams and bacon. And I know a couple of my girls actually do their own ham out on the farm. Guys, there are options out there if you know where to look. Okay, generally speaking, though, ham is a bit of a no-no. But for the sake of the argument, let's just say that's a good one. Alrighty, all nuts that you're going to have, they're raw and they're unsalted. That's a no-brainer. Protein. If you're using a protein powder, I do recommend having it with water, not dairy. That way your body's not trying to digest your fats as well. It's just going to go straight for the protein powder. There's no calories in water, as we know. And your protein will get digested nice and quickly. Again, no fruit juice, flavored milk, soft drinks, nothing like that. It's all water, black tea, black coffee, or a good quality protein powder. And this one, this is, oh God, we hit the stinks with this one in one of our 8-week challenges. No milk or sugar in a coffee and no more than 2 coffees each day maximum. Guys, the amount of people that jumped up and down about this one in particular, forget, no takeaway, or forget no salt or sugars, forget limiting beef. This one here, the no milk or sugar with your coffee and no more than 2 coffees a day, that right there tells us how dependent we are on coffee. Not just coffee, but the stuff that we add to coffee as well. And coffee itself is a brilliant tool. It's a nice little thermogenic. Obviously stimulates the fat loss, but it's all the crap that we add with it that makes it a bad thing. Less than perfect. Let's say less than perfect. I don't like the term bad. Cool. That's nutrition. If you need to, take a screenshot of that. Again, it should be up on YouTube. Fingers crossed. I haven't had much luck with YouTube lately. I've just seen the time. We are running a little bit over. So let's fly through these last ones. Training. Look, it's a general approach. Everybody has different goals. Pretty much, look, we work on 4 different training approaches: strength, cardio, flexibility, and mobility. Now, I generally work in flexibility and mobility at the end of all our boot camps. If you're doing PT, I would generally prescribe you some stretches that you need to do through the week, depending on what's tight. It's about getting the body moving, right? So flexibility deals with the muscles, mobility deals with the joints. Strength and cardio, that's a no-brainer there. You do need a combination of both. Cardio, look, it's half. You know, if you're going to work on one muscle in particular, make it your heart, because that's, without that, well, you're dead. So we do need to get your heart up. Ergo, why we rotate through our boot camps so often. And we also look at a lot of strength training as well. Now, with your strength comes your cardio benefits. So if you need to choose one, if you run out of time or through the week, I know we're busy. Actually, time's a pretty crappy excuse. But look, if you've only got 4% of your day, make it a strength session. Okay, aim for 3 times a week at a minimum. We will rotate through our boot camps to help benefit that. If you're doing this by yourself, or if you and a mate, brand new to the gym, or you're training, you're doing something at home, you've bought yourself a home gym, cool. Break up your training into body parts. This is one approach anyway. You can break up your body into body parts. You break up your training into body parts, spit it out. Push, pull, and legs. That is a brilliant split for a 3-day-a-week training plan. Obviously, you can get into a lot more depth if you've been training for a little while and you want to do a 6-day split. Again, you could just double that, or you can go into a little bit more depth again. I'll use my current plan. I'll tell you what, I'll run you through my current training plan. Monday, legs. Tuesday, pull. What's next? Wednesday is a push day. So that's your chest and your shoulders. Thursday, we're back onto legs again. So these, the 2 leg days are actually different. We've got a push leg day and we've got a pull leg day. So we're talking squats, leg press, hip lifts, that sort of range, anything you're pushing away. Second leg day, that's your pulls. So that's your RDLs, your Nordics, your hamstring work. I've actually thrown in some sumo squats in there as well, just to pre-engage the glutes. But again, we're getting sidetracked. Day 5 for me is a dedicated cardio day. I'm generally pretty written off after those first 4 days. There's some big movements there. So day 5 is basically a recovery day. I'll jump on the treadie and go for a bit of a walk for an hour or so. Day 6 is my Olympic lifts. So big, heavy deadlifts. Actually, it's predominantly deadlifts. And then number 7 is just a makeup day for anything that I felt lagged through the week. Usually that's shoulders. But again, that cardio, I know there's 6 days there of strength training, 1 of cardio for me. But that being said, what muscle pumps the blood around the body? So if you're busting your ass with some heavy strength work, then cool, your heart's definitely on. Your heart is working. So there's your cardio. Your heart rate's elevated, your blood pressure's elevated. You're getting that cardio workout anyway. Okay. Things to watch out for here. We're going to look at imbalances. And now these things, where did we go? Here we go. So as you first get started, you've analyzed the body here. So you also noticed, drops in shoulders, or one shoulder's raised up, one shoulder's forward. Imbalances. So if you have a very sedentary lifestyle, or maybe you're sitting at the computer, or actually, let's use that as the example. You've got a desk job. Most people, being right-handed, will stretch out with their right arm and use their mouse with their left. So we've got that automatic twist in the body. You've also got that bit of internal, I don't know if you can see that on the screen, internal rotation from the shoulder. So we're raised up here. This one has dropped back. Maybe you're a truck driver or work in transport, sitting up on the windowsill, out in front. Okay, so that's raised up. That will generally start to slip down. Be your own worst critic here. Look at any imbalances, not just the shoulders, but maybe the hips, the back, any sort of rotation with the legs. Look at your Your movement patterns as well. So let's take a squat. What's happening with the knees? It's a big one. A lot of people will be quad dominant through their squats, where in fact it should be glute dominant. Okay, look at every little thing. Look at your movement patterns. Look at your general posture. Tons of stuff. Last thing I want to touch on here is your even splits. So when I mean splits, your training plans. So there's, I'm going to use a stereotype for bros in the gym. If you've been around the gym environment, you know what a bro is. Usually it's chest and shoulders every day, train a bit of arms, forget about the legs. So that's your top and bottom split. You need to make sure they're even. Aside from looking like a dick, everything will develop a lot evenly. The bigger, stronger legs will help with any sort of back issues that may arise down the track. Okay, so everything stays nice, symmetrical, and of course safe. So it's not just top and bottom though. Look at your left and rights, your fronts to backs. You don't want to dominate chest. Again, going back to that desk job or a truck driver scenario, we're out in front, so we've definitely got that rolled shoulders. We're shortening up here anyway. Same concept if we keep if we keep training our chest or any sort of push movements, everything gets tight here, we roll up, we're neglecting our back, right? So we need to stretch out here and we need to strengthen up the back. General rule, whatever you do to the front, double it on the back, okay, just to keep everything nice and safe. Look, I know we have run completely over time. I've shot myself in the foot with that one. Look, last thing is just reassess on the go. So all of this, I know it's a lot to take in, but reassess every couple of weeks, every month. Go back to your macro and micro cycles. Get everything right there in front of you. So you can go, okay, so day one, this is what I did. Day two, I've lost 100 grams, or by the end of the week, you've lost 1.5 kilos. That's awesome. Keep assessing it and keep everything in the forefront of your brain. Of course, reach out to your running buddies or your trainer if you need a hand. Guys, I think that is enough to get you started. At least I hope it's enough to get you started. Again, I'm here to help anybody that is struggling. All you got to do is reach out, add me on Facebook, just Jason Gent. And yeah, obviously reach out, follow us on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, insert plugs here. Yeah, awesome, guys. Thanks again for hanging out. I know we went completely over time. Cool. That was a big one. Sing out if you need a hand team. And yeah, thank you very much.